Well, unfortunately, it looks like more snow coming across the area. But before you start cussing me out and throwing things at me, remember, we're just the messenger. We don't produce this stuff. Just focus on this picture right here. We had a nice display of the aurora last night, best we've seen around here in many, many years. As a matter of fact, this is one of the best I've seen. I started my career up in northern Alaska, so even rivals some of that. So just take a look at this picture. Just calm down for a minute. Just get a little bit of zen in you. Okay, everyone's calmed down a little bit. Now let's get to the details. We did issue some winter storm warnings across much of the north, basically anywhere from KC Thermopolis out to the north, includes Worland, Grable, over here toward Cody as well, Lovell, and across the Tetons as well as the Salt Wyoming range. A little further south, places like Casper, Riverton, Lander, also includes Jackson as well as the Star Valley. Winter weather advisories in effect here, probably not quite as much snow here. And there will be some snow across the south as well, just not as much here as the other areas. You want to start in end times? Just go to weather.gov/RIW like you usually do. Now we time out the impacts. Now, snow will be spreading into the west during the morning hours, but it looks like those of us east of the divide, if we do get some snowflakes late in the day, we should be okay at least through about sunset before the really bad weather comes in. Well, maximum impacts probably late tonight once we start cooling off a little bit. And the maximum impacts further south, heaviest snow at this point for places like Lander, also Casper, at least stuff that's going to stick maybe on Saturday night. And then tonight also across southern Wyoming as well. Now, wind gusts today, there will be some wind with this system as it comes across. We don't expect any high wind gusts, but there could be some wind gusts to maybe 40, maybe 50 miles per hour in the favored areas, maybe across Sweetwater County. Buffalo, we could see some gusts maybe over 41, that might be a little low there. Also across much of the Bighorn Basin, with the northwest flow coming in, Casper, 45. That's pretty par for the course of the storm though. But no real extreme winds. We're not expecting hurricane force winds, at least at this point. Now, a couple of points I want to make here. Most of the impacts are going to be during the night. A lot of the snow may melt on surfaces during the day, especially paved surfaces. It's late March now, the sun's pretty strong. It's about as strong as it is during mid-September now, so you get just a little bit of sun, I think, even through the clouds, especially if it's around 30 degrees or so. A lot of that might melt on the roads. And also, the total accumulation, for the same reason, what we have on these maps, is not going to be what you see in your yard, because a lot of it is going to melt, especially during the daylight hours. So keep that in mind as I show you these charts. Start with the probabilistic stuff. This is the low end amount, so figure at least this much snow where you are. Anywhere from about 1 to 3 inches across central Wyoming, across the north. Least amounts probably here across Grable and Worland. The wind's going to be coming like this, so some downsloping off of the Bighorn Mountains. So at least 2 to 4 across Worland, more in Thermopolis. At least I'd say 4 to 6 across the Cody area, at least 5 around Buffalo, 3 around the KC. Across the western valleys, anywhere from about 3 to 5 at higher amounts in the mountains. Now, maximum amounts, now this is probably the absolute maximum we're going to see across the area. Keep this in mind. You're probably not going to see this in your yard because some may melt on contact. Worst case scenario, I think after the winter a lot of us have had, you see worst case scenario anywhere from about 6 to 10 inches across the Wind River Basin, Lander foothills, maybe up to 5 or 6 around Casper. Now across the north, this is where the maximum amounts will be. 6 around Grable, but expanding rapidly further to the west. 18 around Cody, maybe a little bit over down, but they could easily see a foot there if things set up right. Maybe up to 15, 16 inches in Thermopolis, maybe a foot along the I-25 corridor. Now to the west, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches across the western valleys if the worst case scenario sets up. And also higher amounts in the mountains, obviously. Now, another thing to emphasize, look at the time on this. I know it's kind of small. It goes from Friday, this morning, basically through Sunday. So this is going to fall over a long period. You're not going to get a big dump of snow all at once. It'll fall more gradually. But the heaviest amounts probably, I'd say, late tonight. And our official forecast, anywhere from about 4 to 6 across central Wyoming, a little less as you head toward Casper, more as you head north. That's pretty much going to be the theme with this storm. The further north you go, the more impacts are going to be. I'd say 8 to 12 around Thermopolis and Cody, 4 to 6 around Worland, lesser amounts around Grable, anywhere from about 6 to 10, 12 inches along the I-25 corridor in Johnson County, about 1 to 3 inches across I-80, probably 2 to 3 around Kemmerer, anywhere from about 4 to 6 in the Jackson Valley, maybe more in the Star Valley. And the mountains, highest elevations of the mountains could pick up locally 2 feet by the time this is all said and done. Here's our resources. You want weather, you know where to go, weather.gov/RIW. Road conditions, you know where to go for this. Don't call us, call these people. 511 in-state, 5188 Wild Road out-of-state. You want to go on the web, wildroad.info. You want to check out those webcams by route for yourself to see the conditions. Go to our website, click on the local programs tab, then scroll down to webcams by route. Be safe, everybody, and enjoy your weekend.